What is up, and welcome back to How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate. We're back. Another exciting episode.
As a friend told me, we're the best podcast in Jinx, Oklahoma.
It's fact.
So,
undisputed.
Yeah.
Undisputed.
I mean, I think he only told me that because he listens to the podcast and he thought he had to, but
he probably did have to.
No, it's fact.
Fact. Well, we got a couple of updates. Good day today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just closed on Land & Square in Cincinnati. Woo!
Yeah, that's what, $8 million shopping center, shadow anchored.
Basically, yeah.
By Kroger.
Yep.
Everything but the Kroger. Kroger's in the middle, I think.
Yeah,
sure
really good deal. Super excited about that. And northern suburb of Cincinnati.
Yeah, same property manager as our Florissant deal. He's an investor in both of the deals, which is exciting as well. He obviously believes in the project. Got the new leasing team up there. So really excited to just go in and take care of this property. It's kind of been neglected, overseas owner, and the tenants are just excited to have a phone number to call that people answer and can fix things.
Yep.
So I really think if we can just go in and execute some just neglect and some deferred maintenance and pay attention to this property like we do the rest of our real estate.
Give them some love.
Yeah, give them a phone number, give them some consistency. I think it'll go a really long way. I think that's how simple some of these deals are.
What other updates?
We have another one coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, we just solidified the next one. Yeah, so Laburnum Shopping Center in Richmond, Virginia, just outside of Richmond, should close here in about a month.
Yeah, and then we got distributions coming out in a couple of weeks.
Or maybe not a month, like 45 days.
And then
Yeah, distribution time, first quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, distributions have already started to be processed. We did a distribution on Florissant. Obviously got a big chunk of return of capital from the sale. We paid out the pref to date on that one. We actually found out we have interest only through July still, which is awesome. So we're going to have some increased returns for the second quarter and then kind of stabilize out around 10% cash on cash for now, Q3 and Q4.
Nice.
And then, yeah, the rest of the distributions are being plugged in. As we get the financials, you'll start to see a ton of money go out. The big batch of quarterly updates will go out at the end of this month. After we get everything in and kind of plugged in, we'll batch them all out together. It's kind of crazy. When you're an investor in a lot of the deals, it's nuts. I get a copy of it, and my email is just like, there's dozens of deals, each with their own report. It's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, and I think that's something that really bodes well for us. Is we have investors in 10 deals, some of them, especially across Precision Equity and Criterion. Mm-hmm. They've been investing with us now for 10 years. They're in like I said, up to 10, 12 per investor. That means we're doing a good job, and we're doing what we said we're going to do.
Yeah,
providing the returns.
Yeah, we've got. It's still tax season. It's like a plague tax season. I can't wait until it's over. But we've got most of our tax documents out, most of our K-1s out, most of our tax returns finalized.
We've got a lot of K-1s to send out.
Yeah, you're telling me,
like
dude.
20? More? 30?
Not 30, but more than 20.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, deals. And then each of those deals could have 30 investors.
Right. That's a lot of K1s.
Yeah, 34
Thousands.
K1s.
So,
all right. Okay. Well, topic today is when to pull the trigger.
Yeah, so we're kind of buying in every market cycle. And I think the inception of this idea was maybe a phone call that Joel got of like, always looking at deals. And it's a question that we get asked a lot frequently through people is they're educated enough, they're looking at deals. When do I finally buy one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and shout out to my friend Kelly who had the call with me this week, been listening to the podcast and was just asking me some questions on, hey, I've got the education, I'm looking at some deals. When do I pull the trigger?
Yeah, it's kind of hard that first time, right?
For sure. And there's so many questions. So we just thought after that phone, let's just go through it. Let's go through when we think you're ready to submit, that first LOI.
Yeah, kind of a little checklist or something.
So how do we want to start it?
I'd say the first thing is you're going to want a set of metrics, right? Maybe you look at deals and you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to buy this by myself, or I'm going to have some investors, whichever way you want to go. But here's my metrics of the IRR that I want to get and the cash on cash that I want to get. Obviously, that's, maybe that's the starting point. There's a lot more on our checklist, but to me, I think that's where I'd start, right? We've had episodes where we tell people how you can look at deals quickly, but when you zero in on one and it meets your IRR and your cash on cash, and you think that maybe it's time to buy, then that's where you start, and then go on down your checklist.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of things you got to have besides just those metrics, right?
Yeah,
there's a lot of people you need on board. And go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, even you get into this game to make money, and so maybe you're saying, hey, I want to get something that has at least 8% cash on cash, and I want one that has at least 15 plus IRR. Mm-hmm. That's probably the minimums on both of those that I would put up with for the risk. But then you got to say, okay, now that you're in the commercial real estate space, what asset class do you want to buy?
Yeah.
Are you a multifamily person? We haven't done a lot of shows on multifamily, even though I do own some. Are you retail? Are you office? Are you self-storage? Yeah. And so once you've decided that, right, you said, okay, let's just, for the sake of it, I'm going to be a retail guy. Great. Okay. Now you have to understand is what size of a deal can you pull off, or do you want to pull off for your first one?
And what's that based on, do you think?
Two things.
Besides comfort level. But what
two things. How much equity you can come up with or raise.
Cash.
Mm-hmm. And what size of a loan you can get.
Okay. And so how do you figure those two things out?
Well, I would say if you're going to start slinging offers, that's going to get you involved. You're probably going to have to spend some type of money, especially if you go to contract. And so you really want to know, hey, if I get this under contract, how much money can I get a hold of for equity? Not, just set the loan aside. And so you should be talking to potential equity before you do that to get an idea of how much they're interested in giving you.
Yeah, and you're not going to buy it by yourself. Don't buy it by yourself. If you're buying it by yourself, you have a ton of money, and you should just hire somebody to help you. Right? So if you're thinking about doing it, then you don't have that amount of money. You should not be buying the deal by yourself. You need to be having partners. Go in at like half of the equity amount. So you have the wherewithal to buy your own deal, and let's just say you have $1 million because it's a clean round number, and we're looking for a $4 to $5 million deal. Probably a $4 million deal. You've got $500,000 that you've saved up. You want to get in commercial real estate. You want to get working for you. I think that's a reasonable number, right? Mm-hmm. You need to go out and find another 5 people with $100,000 or a few people, whatever it is. And it's going to really help secure a few things. You're going to get more sophisticated people reviewing all of your documents, your budget, your prospectus, whatever it is. And that purchasing power, that $4 million purchasing power is going to get you a good investment. It's hard. The barrier to entry in the commercial real estate space in any asset class is millions of dollars. It's hard to get that prime piece of good real estate for $1 million in commercial real estate in any asset class, even raw land.
Okay. So you figured out how much you can raise.
Yeah.
And then you go to a borrower and find out how much they'll loan you.
Lender.
Lender.
Yeah, I would say that's another thing that you need to be doing kind of ahead of submitting that LOI, because it just wastes everybody's time if you don't have a lender on board. And so I would go to several local lenders and said, hey, here's my financial situation. What will you loan me? Mm-hmm. Yep. If it's a commercial real estate deal that you like, what would you loan me? Mm-hmm. And that does two things. First, it guides the size of your deal. Mm-hmm. The second, it gives you loan terms that you're going to be able to plug into your model that will help you see if you're hitting your return metrics.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
And so they're not going to give you exact, but they'll say, hey, Joel, I would loan you based on your situation $3 million. So you're looking at maybe a $4 million type loan or a deal size. And I would be, it's 75% LTV, 25-year AM, 5-year fixed at a 6.7 rate. Okay, that you've got some baseline. It could change or fluctuate, but that information allows you to back into, what price you want to pay for that and what your returns are going to be. And, the lender may say, depending on how new you are, hey, your net worth is $400,000. I'm not, without somebody else's signature, I'm not going to loan you more than $600,000 or something. Well, now that's not. I mean, that's going to be tough to get a really good cash flowing commercial real estate deal at the $600,000 level. So then you've got to say, okay, I need a cosigner.
Yeah.
And so then you've got to get
more than one cosigner.
Or more than one cosigner. Yep.
It's a lot like buying a house. I mean, let's be honest. You don't accidentally buy a house. It's kind of like buying a car, except cars, again, a little easier to buy. But you have to go through these processes to where you don't accidentally stumble and do it. So I think, when we're going back to the inception of the idea in the episode and the phone call, like, when do I do it? Well, when do you want to start going through all of these processes? Because once you start going through the processes, once you start having the conversations with your buddies, once you start having the $500,000 that it's just like itching to get in the marketplace, once you start, like, you're on your third lender quote and they're like, yeah, I'd probably give you the $3 million on the $4 million deal. It sounds like you know what you're doing, have your stuff together. You're not just going to stop there. It's not going to be like, okay, yep, figured I can do it. I can do it. Seems like a great deal. I'm done. Mm-hmm. So the struggle is getting to do these processes, right? So I don't really know what the struggle is. And I think it is a matter of wasting people's time. So I'm going to pull the curtain back, right? Loan officers get paid to make loans.
They do.
It's fact. It's fact. Car salesmen get paid to sell you cars. So when you walk into a bank and say, hey, I'm looking for some money, they perk up. Mm-hmm. They're excited to do that. They want to lend money. So you are very much not wasting their time.
So it's like going in and saying, hey, I want to buy a car.
Yeah, you're a customer. Yeah. You're an inquiry. They want to give you this information. They want to help you. So why aren't you doing it? Right? Why do you think people are honestly not doing it? Because people can look at the deals. People can decide it's a good investment. People have the money, but it's just like, I don't want to do it.
And I would say you get used to it. You're going to have to tell that lender eventually every single thing about your financial picture. Mm-hmm.
Oh, right?
They're going to know it all.
Yep.
So when they ask you for your tax returns for the last 2 years, when they ask you for your Social Security number to run your credit,
just
when they
bend
ask
over,
you,
spread them.
Where all your money is and all your bank accounts and what your house is worth and what you owe on your car, all of it has to go to them.
Do you love your wife? Maybe not that much. Okay.
But that gives them the information they need to tell you what they can loan. Now, maybe somebody's like, hey, I'm not that strong, but I still want the loan quote, but I'm going to be embarrassed if I don't have the financial chops to be able to get that loan.
You telling my secrets over here?
So, yeah, what I would do then is just say, hey, I realize that maybe my financial picture won't buy a $4 million building, but I have access to some family money. And so I want to get everything set up, to where when I find that right deal, I know what your loan terms are going to be. Mm-hmm. So assume that I've got my rich uncle on board. What's the loan quote? Yeah. What kind of deal do you loan on? Do you like these retail deals in this area? So use that excuse, use any other excuse to save face and just to get the information you need to give you the confidence.
So if you have a cosigner, that person's got to show all that information too, right?
Yep.
And if you're going in pro rata with your buddies, your group, your investment group, whatever it is, the million, you've got $500,000, some other people are coming in. If you're not taking an advantageous split over them, like if they're getting the same returns you are,
then they should sign on it.
Yeah, they should be happy to sign on the debt, because for them, that's why they're getting better returns, is that they have a bit more liability, they have a bit more stake in the game, so to speak.
A little more risk for them, but they don't have to handle the day-to-day problems either. So it's fair.
Yeah. So I think we get, going back to our list, we have our whiteboard out, we have our checklist, and it's just like, do we have a loan? Check. Right? Mm-hmm. Do we have the ability to get $1 million? Check. It should not all come from you. Do not buy this deal yourself, because you're going to be like, I'll buy a $2 million deal. And then guess what? $2 million deal is probably going to be a piece of shit. Probably shouldn't have bought it. And then you bought a piece of shit by yourself instead of buying something nice with friends. And 10% of something awesome is way better than 10, 100% turds. I'll tell you that. It's just in my perspective, right? Like,
wise one,
yes.
Braden.
Well said.
Well, people have a weird thing with partnerships. Like, people are either in or they're out. People are very much like, I don't do partnerships. I only do things I control. Mm-hmm. That limits your purchasing power. It really does. Like, it's not a fractional stock. You can't just go out and buy $10 worth of the best shopping center out there. Like, the ability to buy alongside of somebody is a big deal. You get better purchasing power. It can't be understated enough.
I was thinking about this the other day, kind of just talking to my buddy. you want somebody with experience to look over your deal, and your first one especially.
Yeah.
And so I'll just throw this out there. You want my help for free? Use me as the buyer broker. I'll submit the offer and I'll vet your deal. And that way I have a shot at getting a little commission. But my expertise you'll get for free when I'm analyzing your deal. How about that?
Yeah.
like it.
Well, the Oklahoma Real Estate Commission recently ruled that buyer brokers can no longer offer their services for free. And I know this because I just took the class for my continuing education. So he doesn't know, but he's not working for free, actually. He's not working for free. He's very much charging you for his expertise.
Yeah, I'm charging in the way of a fee that the seller should pay me.
Yes.
All right. So what else? What else do we need lined up? An attorney beforehand or not? Or you can go find an attorney. To help
you can. So first, for me, we're selling a deal on the Oklahoma Real Estate Commission form purchase agreement. It's never happened. It's never happened to me before. It's kind of fascinating. So you do not need an attorney. I would have said yes, but now seen it all. No.
But some people might feel better if an attorney's working on it.
I'd use an attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use an attorney. I would have property management contacts lined up. I would have had those conversations. And once you get over the hump of like calling people, like being scared to call people and waste their time, I hate to break it to you, property management companies make money when they manage.
Okay, but if you're buying a property like we did in Cincinnati, before you pull the trigger, you're going to talk to property management people in that area, you think?
I mean, I would make sure there's management companies out there. If it's a major MSA like that, you probably don't have to worry about it.
Find one later, probably.
We knew somebody close by and really wanted them to manage it, so we checked in with them like, hey, this may be outside of your territory. We'd love for you to manage it. Can you do it? And they were like, yes. So we had that conversation beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine people's first deal is probably not going to be an out-of-state purchase for them.
Yeah.
I would say that the property management companies and local brokers can be your best source of information for a given property. I'm a professional real estate person in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so if somebody called me and said, hey, what do you think of the shopping center at 91st and Yale or whatever, I drive by that. I'm going to know it. I'm going to tell them everything I know of that property after driving by it for the last 20 years.
That's a good point.
And so there's just so much expertise that you can gain by talking to local professionals about the deal. And so that's why it'd be good to talk to them. We don't typically do that because we know that there's enough time to do that after we get it under contract, and we know that we have enough wherewithal to buy the deal. So.
And that's kind of the anxiety is a lot of people are scared to start unless they know 100% of the information, and they never get to that 100% knowledge. So then they never start. And then it's just like vicious loop, right? So being able to start something, not knowing what you're going to run into, and then not knowing if you can handle that, it's kind of scary, especially when you're spending thousands of dollars, you're spending tons of time. The reality of the situation is when a property gets listed, it sits on the market for weeks, maybe a month. Even the best properties is typically sitting on the market for weeks. So once you see it, you typically have enough time to call your friends, to call your management companies that you probably already know, to call your potential leasing companies, to call your bank, to call your investor club group, whatever we want to call that, and all have them drive by the deal. It's probably all local to them, you, the group, the bank, et cetera. You should have time to do all of that beforehand. I would want to do that beforehand on my first deal.
Before
the LOI, before anything, right? Like before anything. Hey, this deal got listed. Check it out. Just like a house. Hey, the house got listed. You want to go drive by it. You want to bring your wife by. You may bring your in-laws by. You got to go get the pre-approval letter. Like this shit takes time. That's why this stuff sits on the market for a few weeks. It's the reality of the situation. They're illiquid assets that take time to move.
Yeah, going back to the attorney, you definitely should know an attorney that's familiar with real estate, but you don't need them to do anything right at first. That's the whole purpose of the LOI.
Yeah,
is you submit the LOI. I don't suggest submitting an LOI without potential equity, without a loan quote, and all of that.
Yeah.
But the LOI is like, hey, I want to buy your center at about this price.
On these terms.
And if you're not in agreement, I don't want to waste money drawing up an official purchase and sale contract. Yeah, right. So it's just a way to save.
It's like an email.
Yeah, it's like to save everybody money if we're not going to get there on price and terms. So they try to negotiate the high level price and terms before we get to the PSA, because we don't want to spend a week and $3,000 fighting over that and then be like, we don't agree. Yeah. So
next point. Fear, right? Like fear is preventing or the unknown or ignorance of not done it, right? I've felt found. I've been there. I felt the same way. What I found is people do it all the time. We get offers, LOIs on shit we own all the time. And then we respond, we counter, they ghost us. It happens all the time because like Joel said, it's like the door kick, the tire kicker, whatever you want to call them. Like people are just seeing if they can get a crazy deal. We'll submit low LOIs all the time, kind of doing the same thing. I mean, we don't completely ghost them. If it's not, we just say, hey, we were seeing how motivated you were or whatever the line is. It's a normal process of doing business. Do not be scared to submit an LOI. Just don't be scared, right? Like if you submit an LOI, you should have the wherewithal to act on those terms. Firmly believe that.
Yeah.
So just submit the LOI based on that. So, right, we found the property, we've ran it through all the litmus tests, we've run it through our criteria. It meets everything, it makes money, we're going to get the loan. The investor club is interested. Why are we not buying this deal?
Yeah. Doesn't seem too hard.
Yeah, and that's why I don't believe that we got to that point. It's like, I got cold feet. That's not what's happening here, guys. What's happening is we're scared to start the processes for whatever reason. And I'm telling you, going through those processes is going to educate, motivate. It's going to make you feel safe and secure.
Empower you.
Power.
Yep.
100%. Like that's why those processes are there. Furthermore, if that does not still make you comfortable, right? It's still not enough, Braden. Guess what? You have another month of actually testing this thing, of actually running it through debt service coverage ratios, stress tests with the lender, of actually getting your engineer, plumber, electrician, asphalt roofer guy in there to check all of those things. You're going to argue about credits with the seller. You have time to do all of that stuff and still back out, get your earnest money. You're going to lose a little bit of time. You're going to lose a little bit of costs on these reports if you can't ultimately come to a deal. That's okay. That's why those systems are built in there. But like people are not starting way in the beginning. Like we're not even getting to the hard parts, guys. And it's just because of what? Like go talk to your lender tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's people they're saying, oh, commercial real estate would be great. It just feels whenever they think about buying a $5 million deal or whatever they're thinking about, the anxiety kind of builds up. And what that anxiety and fear does is it keeps them from doing all the next things because it's uncomfortable. Yeah. Like, oh, whenever I think about buying, I get a little uncomfortable. My chest gets a little tight, and then they don't take that further action. But just take the pressure off yourself. Just tell yourself, hey, you're never going to buy a commercial real estate deal. All you're going to do is prep yourself to buy a commercial real estate deal.
Yeah.
And so you're going to talk to potential investors and you're going to talk to lenders. What kind of deals are you lending on these days? What kind of rates? Continue to get offers in your email and review those. Over time, the confidence will build if you are one of those people that are feeling that anxiety when you think about having to actually buy. And
then at some point, it's going to happen.
Yeah, at some point it's going to happen. And, once again, if you find a good deal and you call us, right? I'll take 5 minutes and say, hey, I like this deal, or no, I wouldn't buy that deal. Just call us up. We love engagement and we want to be helpful. That's the whole reason to do the show. So,
yeah. And if you find that you want to do none of that and you just want to get amazing deals sent to your inbox, you can do that too, because we do that.
Yeah.
This is literally
we'll do all the work, take all the risk, and
Joel will do all the work. Brian will take all the risk.
Yep.
And
we'll get it done.
And then we'll send you checks, and like we're going to do here next week.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that was our show, just how to help you know when it's time to pull the trigger.
Time is now.
Yeah, you guys should be buying. Always be buying. ABB. I love it.
All righty, guys.
Next time.